Good evening. How everyone doing today? God is good and God is good all the time. This is a beautiful day, but I wind up and park in the wrong spot. Oh, the sun is shining, but it's beautiful. Now I'm still in the book on Elijah because I'm trying to catch up on Elijah because I ain't did too much never read too much on Elijah's stories, So we're gonna leave off at part 3 when Elijah had seeked to prove to the Israelite that there's only one God. So after Elijah proved to the Israelite that there is only one God, the word got to Jezebel. Now that's Ahab's wife. He was there. So and she wanted to harm Elijah. So when Ahab went home, he told his wife everything what happened, what Elijah did, how he did it, and she got disturbed. So then she sent a message out towards Elijah. So now we enter in chapter 4. And it's gonna come from the story come from 1 Kings chapter 19, 1 through 9. Now entering on part 4, Elijah flees to Hebron from Jezebel, that his life is in danger. Now the messenger got to him and let him know what Jezebel sent the people out to do. So he feel like his life is in danger, so he flee. So Ahab told Jezebel, his wife, everything Elijah had done and how. Jezebel sent a messenger to Elijah to say, "May the good deed with me. May the God deal with me." So she's saying she wasn't pleased how Elijah had tried to prove himself that there's only one God, that they broke the commandment and stuff like that, because she said, Jezebel, she said, "May the God deal with me." So she's saying, let God deal with her. She didn't want nobody else to tell her how to live her life. So be it ever so severely, if by this time tomorrow I do not make your life like that of one of them. So she's saying she's not going to harm him. She'll have somebody else to do. She said she said she said your life like that of one of them. Your life like that is one of them. So Elijah was afraid when he heard that. He ran for his life. Now remember, Jezebel is a woman, and Elijah is a powerful prophet. He do have powers and everything. So he was afraid and he ran. So he ran and he was discouraged and he was overwhelmed with everything, because he felt like he do good in the will of God. But people, you got to realize, a lot of demons do not like God prophets. So a lot of God prophets, a lot of chosen, a lot of us anointed, we gonna get the heat from being God chosen, when a God prophets, a God anointed. So a lot of people is not gonna take in with that. You're gonna always get rejected. You're gonna always, nobody not gonna want to hear. Especially when you got favor. Everybody gonna reject it. So he was like overwhelmed, because this is not the first time on his journey. He have rejection and he have nobody don't want to hear about the commandment or none of that stuff. So when he came to Beersheba in Judah, he left his servant there. He left his servant there. Now why he himself went a day journey into the desert. Now he went to the desert. Now he sit under a tree. Now he's so tired and drained. He walking. He walking, and he at this desert. So he wound up and sit under this tree. And he's so exhausted. So he prayed to God. And he told God that he wants to die. He said, take his life. He said he had enough. He said, take my life. I am no better than my ancestors. And then he laid down under the tree and fell asleep. So this is the first time he fell asleep. So Elijah had been through a whole lot. He do as well. He always do well in God's eyesight. So people always wants to harm him or kill him. Because you remember Jezebel, she killed all the prophets. So he gonna let God know he the only one survived. Everybody don't want the prophets to speak or hang around. So he catch himself always running. And you remember David used to always run from Saul. So he caught himself always running from doing the will of God. So you turn. Now he did the right thing by he turned to God. But at the same time, he telling God to take his life. So when you down and out, you sad, you discouraged, the only person you can go to is God. You go to God with your sorrows. He'll listen and he'll handle your own situation. So I know how he feels. All we want to do is serve God. Serve God. So no matter what you're going through, take the time and pray to God. When you feeling discouraged, when you feeling sad and sorrow, take it to God and pray. So when you think it's over, God will send his angels. So a lot of times you think your life is over with. All kind of stuff is falling apart. Everything, you start feeling overwhelmed. You think you just done. Elijah just thought he was done. He like every time he tried to proceed his duties, somebody wants to try to kill him. He was at the end of his work. He was at a breaking point. So he thought it was over. So now an angel touched him and said, "Get up and eat." So he look around his head. There was cake, bread, food. Now that's amazing. For you to wake up out of sleep, and you got all kind of food around your head. He had something to drink. He had food, cake, bread. He had everything he needed. So the angels told him to eat, and that's God. When you saw, when you down out, God will send someone to lift you up. So he looked around. There was food around his head. There was water. It was everything he needed. But after he ate everything, I guess he got full because he laid down again. So he laid down again. So now he laid down again, but then the angels come a second time. Angel come a second time. See, Elijah refused to go back and do what he's supposed to do. He just ready to give up. He just want to just lay around and just die. So the Lord came back. The angel of the Lord came back the second time and touched him and said, "Get up. The journey is too much for you." So he's saying the journey is too much for him. So we're going to see down the line, God going to give him help. So he touched him and said the journey is too much for him. So he got up, he drank, he ate again. He eating real good, I tell you that. So he eat again. He traveled. So his journey going to be traveling for 40 days and 40 nights until he reached Hebrew, the mountain, and he going to spend. And he went into a cage and gonna spend the night there. Now he loved these cages. David used to always run to them cages. So he's really discouraged. He just wanted to just lie around. He ate food and stuff the first time, laid down. The angel coming like, "Get up." He getting too lazy. So we come into the next chapter. Says the Lord appears to Elijah. So now the Lord about to appear to Elijah. He just had a breaking point. So now Elijah in the cage. Remember, he was in the cage. So the word of the Lord came to him. "What are you doing here?" And so Elijah replied, "The Israelites have rejected your covenant, and I am the only one left," because they killed the prophets. So now they are trying to kill him too. Remember, Jezebel was killing all the prophets. He said he letting God know he the only one survived. So the Lord said, "Stand on the mountain. The presence of the Lord will pass by." So he's telling them, go on top of the mountain. He said, "I'm about to pass you by." So we gonna see how. So he's standing on the mountain. Now remember, God said he about to pass by. So a powerful wind passed, breaking the mountain apart and everything. So he looking around. He still don't see God coming out. And remember, God said he's gonna pass by. So they had shadow or rocks before the Lord, and in strong wind. You got all that going on. He's still looking. That's no God. Earthquake passed. Earthquake going on. He still don't see no God coming out the earthquake. So there's fire. came after the earthquake. And he trying to see all through. I saw the move, so that's why I'm doing the motion. He's still trying to see if God coming out the fire. So God still didn't come out the fire. But what God did, so they had powerful wind, and that was no God. They had shadow or rocks was thrown around. That was no God. There was an earthquake. That was no God. There was fire came through, and there was no God. So God said He gonna pass by. So he started standing, and he seen all this stuff is coming at him, and he's like, where is God at? So after the fire came, there was a gentle whisper. There was a gentle whisper. And so Elijah heard it and put his cloak over his face, and stood at the mouth of the cave. So God was not in none of those things. But God did came out as a whisper. God have a soft voice. So that was a whisper. The verse said to him, what are you doing here? So God keep asking him, what are you doing? Because see, here's a prophet. He's not supposed to be scared. And so that's what God telling me. You're not supposed to have fear. You're not supposed to be scared. You're not supposed to be afraid. When you're his prophet, he don't design you to have fear and being afraid. So that's why he keep asking Elijah, why is you here? Why is you running? Why is you in a cave? You're just one of my prophets. You got to stand on your ground, and you're supposed to, deal with these people. I know you to do these type of things. So he replied, he said it again, that the Israelite had rejected your covenant, broke down your altar, and put the prophets to death. Now he told him this the first time. So that's still, God still still, why you here? You're supposed to be there and helping, keeping them in control. So with the sword, so I am the only one that's left. And they're trying to kill me too. So God heard this the first time. But God still like, what you here from? You my prophet. You're supposed to be there, controlling the Israelite. Don't worry about them rejecting you. People gonna reject you. When you come from God, you doing the will of God, people gonna reject you. You can't not run. You have to stay on your ground. You got to stay on your ground. So that's why God keep on asking, what did you here for? You're supposed to be there, in charge, and you running, talking about the people reject you. People gonna reject you. So the Lord said, go back. The Lord said, go back. And then the Lord said, go back the way you came. So the way he came, that's the way God telling him to go back. So God always tell you to go back the way you came. So go to the desert of Jezreel. And when he got there, God said, when you get there, none these three people, Hazel, Judas, and Elijah, because remember, the angel told him, this journey is too much for you. So now God is gonna have these three people, I guess, to help him on his journey. Because I see he got so overwhelmed, he just ready to take his life. So now he said, when you get there to that desert, you unknown these three people here. So one, we see that Elijah ran from his problem instead of standing on his ground. He slept in the cave. And every time he do the will of God, or try to tell the Israelite not to break God's command, the Israelite always reject him and always wants to kill him because they already killed the other prophets. So God told him. So he said the people reject his commandment and the people reject him. So that still wasn't an excuse. God asked him twice, why are you here? He kept asking him that because you was one of my prophets. You was the one that's in charge. You're supposed to be there, keeping control of the Israelites. Don't matter if they reject you. People gonna reject you. When you one of God's prophets, when you one of God's chosen, when you one of God's anointed, you gonna get rejected. So go back and proceed to do this. So God said he will pass by. So we had the wind pass, we had the earthquake pass, you had to scatter all the rocks past to the mountain was just breaking all apart. Yeah, all these things passed by. It never snuck out. But guess what? God passed by in a whisper. He whispered. He passed by, but he didn't pass by through those things. Because God do have a soft place. So 3. Elijah was discouraged. But God, through his whisper, encouraged him. God encouraged him to go back. God said, I create you. I create you to be a leader. I create you to be one of my prophets over the Israelites. So God encouraged him. God encouraged him to go back. Now, sometimes we may get overwhelmed. We may get at a breaking point. But God don't want us to give up. When you at that point that you feel like you're doing too much, and you feel like you're being rejected or nothing not going right, and you're doing all that you can. I've been at that point. I know how Elijah felt. You have to go to God. Go to God with your sorrows. Go to God with your pain. Go to God how you feel. Because he is a God will encourage you. Because he wasn't finished with Elijah. When Elijah said, take my life, like Jonah did, God took Jonah's life. God had nothing else for him to do. But God wasn't finished with Elijah. Elijah said, take my life. God did not take his life. God told him, you go back. God told him to go back. I ain't done with you yet. You go back and proceed your duties. So Elijah was discouraged, but God encouraged him. God encouraged him to go back, and finish your journey. Finish your proceeding your duties. So God encouraged him and told him to go back and anoint these 3 people. So I guess these 3 people gonna help Elijah since he got overwhelmed and he got sensitive because everybody rejected him. Everybody rejected him. But you're gonna be sad a little while, but you gotta keep it moving. You gotta keep it moving. When you working for God, you're gonna be rejected. You just got to keep it moving. Keep it moving. So Elijah needed to be encouraged. At time to time, we all need to be encouraged sometimes, including me. So I had to encourage, excuse me, I had to encourage myself sometimes. Excuse me. I have to encourage myself sometimes. But one thing about me, I'm a strong woman. I ain't gonna never give up. I might get frustrated. I might get at a breaking point. I might get sad sometimes, but I pray. I encourage myself. I even write scriptures down, and read it every day. Or you read songs. All that stuff help me. You have to be strong. You have to be encouraged. You're going to have tough times. You're going to be discouraged sometimes. You're going to be in your feelings sometimes, but people will reject you. But you have to keep going. You have to get going. I mean, don't do like Elijah. He ran from his problem. He ran from his problem that he wanted to just give up on life. Just because people rejecting him. Just because he's doing the will of God and nobody don't like to hear. Nobody don't like to hear nothing from us. You're going to get all that. But you have to some kind of way, you have to get over it. I go through it. I have sad moments. I have ups and downs. And we see Elijah had ups and downs. Elijah did an excellent job. Yesterday when I preached to y'all about he proving to the Israelites that there was only one God. Now, by he did that, they dislike him. They rejected him. They didn't want him around. And they just tore up all the altars, just did everything, just destroyed the carpenter that Moses had. I mean, they just got so angry. Sometimes people get so angry and don't want to hear anything from a prophet speaking the word of God. You have to come in his rules. You have to come in his rules. And Israelite know better. So it was kind of strange how they rejected. This is the first time I'm hearing that they rejected a prophet like that. But that's why I got to keep on reading, because everything is Israelite, and that's God's favor, and treating his prophet like that. See, God don't like when you be treating his prophet like that, and Elijah is a good prophet. He's a good man. He always helping the widows or anybody's in drought. He always show up and help out. All he was doing trying to let them know you can't serve other gods. You can't serve other gods. They don't have but one God, but they got so angry. They got so angry and rejected Elijah. And the word got to Jezebel, the procedures that he did, and she just got so mad and sent out a threat on his life. So he just ran, And so he did pray to God, but that didn't turn him around the first time. He just laid down and just kept on laying down, wants to go to sleep. The angel woke him up the first time. He ate and laid back down again. He just was at a breaking point. So the angel had to come here a second time, like, you still in the same spot. So she gave him food again. So this time when God came in and whispered, God like, oh no, go back. Go back. And see, when you go back, you got 3 people I want you to know. And so those 3 people gonna help him since he's so overwhelmed. Remember, the angel told him, this is too much for you. So that's why God sent 3 more people to help him. So sometimes, instead of you just giving up, instead of you just running, ask God sometimes to lift some of the burden off of your shoulder. Just like he sent help for Elijah, he'll do the same thing for you, Because sometimes God, he'll understand if it's too much for you. Just like Moses, his uncle had to come and let him know. Let God know that you need some help. And he started dividing the groups up. And so he had to go to God every time he had a situation with the Israelite. So sometimes when you got a big, large group, the Israelite is a big, large group. If you overwhelm, if it's too much pressure, let God know. Don't be so quick to run away and give up. Always pray and run to God. God will encourage you. He will encourage you. He will tell you the right things to do. He encouraged me all the time to stay on that path. As long as we trust God and stay on God's path, he will always have our back on our journey. So remember, don't run like Elijah did. If you feel like you're overwhelmed, go to God. Go to God and pray. Because we sometime in life, you might get overwhelmed. It might be too much for you. So don't be ashamed or be afraid that every time you look around, you got to go to God. God is our Father. We don't mind if we go to him. He'd rather for us to go to him than do like Elijah did, just ran and just want to give up his life. What he was going to do? Just sleep himself away? Every time the angel came back, he was asleep. So I just hope y'all enjoy this word. And remember, when you're on your journey and you feel like people rejecting you because you perceiving it and doing God well, and you get sensitive. We all get sensitive sometimes. Especially your children. We all spiritual beings, and that's part of our spiritual being. We get emotional and sensitive sometimes. But I'm calming myself down because I don't think it's supposed to be too much emotion, too much or sensitive. But if you get like that, when people reject you, you're gonna be lied on. You're gonna be all kind of things. So we got to some kind of way control our emotions and I'm trying to do all that, but I always stand on my ground. I'll never give up. I just keep it moving. You have to keep it moving. Forget the lies, forget the rejection, forget all that. Just keep it moving. Continue on proceeding in your journey. See me, I go through a whole lot. But guess what? I still put out my material. I still do what I need to do. Don't never stop completely. Because you're being rejected. Keep it moving. Because once you stop, then God will get mad that you stop. Because once you stop, you ain't gonna have issues of doing nothing else no more. That's why I keep it moving. You got to keep it moving. Don't never stop. I will never stop. No matter how it look. It look like I be losing. Look like everything's falling apart. I just keep it moving. I don't never stop. Keep putting your material out. Keep putting your business and stuff out. Keep doing what you have to do. Don't never stop. Because see, if you stop, then you letting the devil win. So I hope you have a blessed and beautiful day. And remember that God loves all of us. And don't never give up. Just keep on keeping it moving. And have a blessed day. See you next video.